Hey everyone, welcome back. Here we are, Commission Co, and it's week 4, LOC Dynasty.
Yeah, Dynasty, it's my favorite format. I mean, I am 0-3, but I've been saying since last season that I am going for a 2-year rebuild, and I'm definitely in the middle of that. However, I am happy that I did put a waiver claim in for Tremble, and I got him since I had the worst waiver pick, and we'll go from there. I mean, first up, I believe it is myself. Oh, I actually went too far. Myself versus Bolt Up. I am 0-3. Bolt Up is 2-1, and he does have a win against me this year so far. I am the worst points for, and the sad thing is there are two teams within 70 points of me in points for, and I had one quarterback play 1 week, and he got me -5 points. So if I had two quarterbacks playing, I would definitely be, middle of the road, maybe, or at least in not the bottom three, which is kind of sad for the two teams that I am pretty close to in points for. I mean, we can talk about the two teams. I do have Justin Fields. He does have Herbert playing Vegas. He does have Hurts plays in Kansas City. I think Hurts does have a bounce back game. As I said in LOC, I think he does get 2 touchdowns, whether it's 2 rushing, 2 passing, and 1-1. And Bolt Up's going to win, and he's going to get his second win against me. And he's still going to have a losing record against me, though.
Yeah, I got Bolt Up winning this one too. I don't see really any picture for victory that really makes sense for me, but you're right, he still will have that losing record versus you. If he gets the win, he's 2-4. I thought your waiver wire pickup with Tremble was a great one. I think they said he's going to be the pass catching tight end there. So clearly, from a fantasy perspective, that's what you want. I'm criticizing Lucas a little bit. I mean, he did trade that round 1 to Joshua for Mike Davis, and obviously with Mike Davis's role seemingly getting reduced every week, that's definitely a tough trade to look at for sure. For you, Justin Fields, it's going to take time, and a nightmare scenario for you could be the rumor I heard. They're looking at maybe possibly starting Nick Foles over Justin Fields. So that would be a disaster. So one bad game from Fields this week, you got to think it is Nick Foles' show for the next little bit, which would be a joke. I'm going Bolt Up. I originally had Bolt Up and sticking with it.
Yeah, I originally had Bolt Up as well. Honestly, if Fields gets me negative points this year, this week as well, they go with Nick Foles. At least I won't get negative points, and I'll be at 0.
Good point.
One way to look at it. Next up, we do have Bare Naked Ladies 1-2 versus Orange Crush going 3-0. And Ken Crush, I actually read that as Ken Crushy stay undefeated. So the Orange Crush is now called Orange Crushy, and I will stick by that as well as his new name. So can he go
Interesting
undefeated?
nickname for sure.
Orange Crushy.
I think he has the potential to go to undefeated. I mean, when I originally had the prediction here, I had Bare Naked Ladies, but I'm actually going to go and change that prediction. I am going to go with Orange Crush. I think he can stay 4-0, even with having two primary receivers in that Indy offense. And you guys all know how I feel about Carson Wentz. Guy's a bum. You made a lot of good points of maybe Mahomes going off. You got to think Kansas City wants to rebound too, obviously going 1-2, and Mahomes is going to be a big part of that. The other game I see here for him is because of the IR rule, he was able to pick up Tua's replacement in Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is playing his former team, Indianapolis. You don't think he's going to want to try to play hard and go hard against his former team there? I'm sticking with Orange Crush here.
Yeah, I also originally had Bare Naked Ladies winning this as well. And since that time, since we made these projections, Joshua has said he was selling. And he is one of those two teams that are within 70 points of my points for. And with everything you said, plus kind of looking at the two teams, as soon as I find the damn game again, Mahomes and then Aaron Jones against Pitt, Hines, and then kind of looking at Bare Naked Ladies, it's going to come down to what does Eli Mitchell do? Will he actually get you some points? Because we all know Zach Wilson is not going to get you any points. He is going to be horrible like he usually is every week. And he got you -6 points last week and -7 the week before. And I am also changing and going to Orange Crush as well. Next up, we have Curly Lamborghini 0-3 versus Bills Mafia 2-1, and it's a 2-horse race.
Yeah, basically the 2-horse race is really all about there's a 2-horse race in the Ming, and Curly Lamborghini's not a part of it this year. He's made the playoffs every year coming in, but this year the team just it's not there. He just I talked about DJ Shark. He's not the number one in Jacksonville, and we've seen that. He does have Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. Those guys are obviously incredible, along with Kyler Murray. And when you see he has that trio of guys, it's like, how the heck is this guy not winning games? But he's not because the rest of the lineup just isn't deep enough. I said it from the get-go with Bills Mafia. As long as he has Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford, the guy's going to get W's. And we saw that last week. A big reason why he got the W last week was these guys putting up incredible numbers. And because of that reason, I'm going Bills Mafia again with Josh Allen having that good matchup against Houston.
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid point. Kyler Murray, Curly does have Kyler Murray. But then kind of his running back room's okay. You guys got Perrine and Gaskins. And as I said, I don't think Gaskins is really the RB1 there. He might be like the RB 1.1 and then Brown's RB 1.2. So like he's definitely splitting carries there. And he does have Pollard, who I do like. But it's going to come down to, is Lockett going to play? Versus, looking at the Bills Mafia, is Devin Cook going to take the carries away from Madison? And to me, honestly, it doesn't matter. I have Bills Mafia winning. I think he has the most points for in Dynasty. He does. He's up by about 31.022 points for over your brother. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be a close match. And I think Bills Mafia is going to win. Hopefully, though, because Bills Mafia had a great team last year, and once he makes the playoffs, he can actually do something this year. Next up, it's Optimus Prime 0-3 versus Randall Flag Football 2-1. And teams start to sell. I mean, I started to sell before the season even started, but the other teams start to sell. And to me, if you are Optimus Prime, who's 0-3, who has actually 107 more points for than me, but going into week 3, you would expect that to be a lot higher since I haven't had a quarterback since week 1. The answer is yes. If you're 0-3, why aren't you selling? Why aren't you getting some picks from guys who might not be superstars or getting points next year? To me, you have to start selling and kind of looking at his team. Like Carlos Hyde, why is he still on your team? Why haven't you sold him yet? Sonny Michel, same thing. James Robinson, like move these guys because James Robinson next year is probably going to take the backseat to NZ, and Michelle is definitely going to when Cam Akers comes back, Carlos Hyde, same thing as Robinson. Move these guys, get some picks and build your team for next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thought, obviously, and that's why I threw it out there. Obviously in Dynasty, we don't have to worry about falling, right? So you can sell and really not suffer the consequences of next year. You're just rebuilding just like you're doing. So it makes a lot of sense. In this one, like, clearly having my brother win this one. One thing I'll say about my brother, he's winning a couple of games, not having Josh Jacobs in the lineup. That's supposed to be a key piece to his team. So him not being there. AJ Brown, of course, helped for him this week, but I think his lineup is still way deeper than Optimus Prime's to win that game. I mean, Optimus Prime has Diami Brown in the starting wide receivers, whereas Brian has Williams, Ridley, and Metcalf. I just like that trio a lot more. Darnold's been a pleasant surprise for Brian. And then Tim Patrick. I said it in the LOC. This guy's going to get more targets, and he has them in his flex. So I'm sticking with Brian easily.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. I have Brian. I mean, I have Optimus Prime going 0-13. So any games against him, I believe you're going to win. But he does have Chuba Hubbard in his flex. So that's also something to look out for going forward.
And Prime did just pick up Brandon Bolden too, and we'll see if he gets some snaps. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Bolden, looking at him, he might get a few snaps, but I think JJ Taylor is going to take that over better. Or they might play Stevenson. Next up, we have Sabatica Spartans 1-2 versus Unnecessary Roughness 2-1. And yeah, whoever wins this game will be a difference maker. I mean, can you go if you go 3-1, you're definitely at the top of your division. Versus going 1-3, you're definitely towards the bottom of your division. And what else can you say about that?
Yeah, and I think it's a big game too, because if Doosan wins, right, then that would mean both teams are 2-2, and we already kind of both projected that Adrian's going to win his matchup against Bare Naked Ladies. So if he goes 4-0, that's already a 2-game lead, 4 games in, fairly significant league to start out with. And when I look at my original picks here, I had Unnecessary Roughness actually losing this one, so I had the prediction for it to go 2-2. And I'm going to stick with it. A lot of reasons why. I think because it's evenly matched, to be honest. I think it's going to be a close matchup. When I look at Sabatica Spartans, one guy that I always watch when I see them play and the guy just dominates games, it's Ketchin Kelsey. The guy, when he gets the ball, I mean, he's hard to bring down. And I think teams are scared to bring him down. And Brandon Ayuk. We finally had a Brandon Ayuk sighting last week, and I think it's just the beginning. I have a feeling this guy had some sort of personal or, off-field problems that have been kind of kept secret, but clearly he's back. And then Logan Wilson, I drafted him, Sabatica Spartans. Obviously, I was high on him as well. I'm sticking with Sabatica Spartans.
Yeah, I mean, I also had Sabatica Spartans winning this as well. And kind of looking at the two teams, I didn't expect Daniel Jones versus Dak Prescott to be the difference maker in this game, honestly. But Dak Prescott's playing Carolina and Daniel Jones is playing New Orleans. And the question is, what New Orleans team is coming to play? And the answer, I guess we'll find out on Sunday at 1 p.m. Kind of looking at the running back room, McKissick, Kamara, and Trey Sermon, who is definitely, in my opinion, the better running back than Eli Mitchell, but versus, Javonte Williams, Barkley, and Carson. So looking at just those 4 players, I call it pretty evenly matched. But then you kind of scroll down to, the wide receiver room where you got Beasley, Marquise Brown, and Brian Edwards versus Quintus Cephas, who, besides last week, has been putting up lots of points. You got Mooney and Sterling Shepard. Honestly, I know NFL's Unnecessary Roughness has better players. I honestly think it's more even. And then when you get to the tight ends, as you said, Kelsey, is Kelsey, and Schultz is not playing the Eagles. And when he's not playing the Eagles, he's not going to put up that many points. And Kelsey will put up many points because he is playing the Eagles. And that is why I have Sabatica Spartans winning. Next up, we have 2 bums. As you said, I did not write this headline. AgentSteal 1-2 versus Likely Losers 1-2. And I almost beat Likely Losers with one quarterback getting -5 points. So he is definitely a bum with me. And you're also a bum going 1-2.
Definitely. The whole Solomonic division, I'm disappointed in all 4 of us. Lucas was bragging to me all week about how he beat me, but for me, it all starts at the top. I've been saying this from the beginning, and the reality is Baker Mayfield and Big Ben. I like Mayfield. He has a very high completion percentage, so I'm not going to knock him at all. Just doesn't put up a lot of touchdowns, right? Big Ben, if he doesn't produce this week, I'm getting rid of him. He's going to get cut. It looks like I'll have to pick up Carson Wentz. You know how I feel about him too. It's a joke on my side at the quarterback position, but then we also saw Stewart basically profess how much of a joke his wide receiver room is. And a lot of that is due, obviously, to the injuries. To who? Well, if you look at his injuries, it's all Denver Broncos. Maybe don't draft Denver Broncos. KJ Hamler, Jerry G, Josie Jewell, all out for him on IR. And Curtis Samuel also a bust. I picked myself to win this one. Stewart, really bad defense this year. I'm sticking with myself.
Yeah, you can always pick up Davis Mills. He's also on the IR, or maybe get Andy Dalton when he gets back. If you're trying to win some couple games there. But as you said, looking at the 2 teams, just in general, you're actually ranked, I believe, 8th in points for. Doing quick counting, yeah, you're 8th. Stewart is also one of those teams who's within 77 points of myself in points for. And like I said, that is definitely not anywhere you want to be in points for. Scrolling through the two teams, he does have Derek Carr and Matt Ryan, and we all know how I feel about Matt Ryan. He is playing Washington, but we also what he did against the Giants as well, which was horrible. Looking at the two teams in general, you like I said, you have Mayfield, you have Big Ben. Hopefully, Big Ben can beat Green Bay just because it's Green Bay. And honestly, I kind of like your wide receiver room, but it's either boom or bust for Amari Cooper for you. And I think if Cooper can put up big points, I think you win this easily. If Cooper can put up big points, I think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to come down to what do the two-headed monster in Cleveland do for you this week. They are playing mini, so I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think you are going to win. And then, like I said, depending on what Cooper does, it's going to be close or not. Next up, we had the Vlad Jr. crew 2-1 versus the Illuminati, who's 2-1. Somehow, some way, Robert is 2-1, and his first overall pick did get injured, Etienne. So yeah, he's 2-1. Let's just call it what it is. He's 2-1.
Yeah, he is, and here's the other surprising part. He's had some success against Chris and Vlad Jr. crew. It's a 3-3 career. So, for Robert to have even a 3-3 record with somebody's huge. I did not predict Robert to have a very good year this year at all. And, in this back-to-back game that they're in with together, I had originally picked Robert to lose last week, and I am going to predict again for him to lose. I don't care even if he got the W last week, even with Brady going into New England for the revenge game. Brady's probably going to want to put up 5 touchdowns there. I think it's going to get tougher for Teddy Bridgewater in his other quarterback position. Denver's played teams that have a combined record 0-9. Baltimore's going to be a different animal for them. Taylor Heineke, on the other side for Vlad Jr. crew, how good is this guy really? He's been a journeyman quarterback for the most part. Russell Wilson in San Francisco, that's going to be a hostile environment. San Francisco is not going to want to drop 2 games in a row at home. I think that's going to be a tough one for Seattle. I'm going Vlad Jr. crew to win here just because he just has a better roster and he's been a better owner over time.
Yeah, the funny thing is, as we said, the Illuminati won last week. Vlad Jr. crew is third in points for at 940. Robert is at 9th with 792. That's about 148 point difference in points for. Yet he still lost last week. Surprisingly though, I originally had the Illuminati losing last week, winning this week. I had him splitting the series, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to change it. I'm going to say he loses this week just because I had him losing last week, but winning this week. So maybe he won earlier than I thought he was. But as you said, I think it's going to be super close. I think Justin Jefferson is going to finally have a breakout game against Cleveland. Tom Brady, as you said, he is going to New England. But Cordell Patterson, Kenyon Drake, and Ronald Jones. Honestly, no, I changed my mind. I'm sticking with the Illuminati winning this.
Love it.
Next up, we got Zebras 3-0 versus No More 2-1. It's a back-to-back matchup. I believe they both played. They played last week as well. And I had the No More winning last week, and let's see if he won last week. He did not win last week, and Zebras won last week, but it was by a score of 17-point difference. A little less, it was like 16.97. I think it's going to be a close match, and I think No More is going to get the W here just because I think his team is slightly better. I think Zebras has a great team. No More is ranked 4th in points for versus Zebras, who is 7th. But that is also an 80-point difference in between the two teams.
Yeah, a big difference last week in the win was C-Mac going down for No More, and then that might have been the 16-point difference, to be perfectly honest with you. Last week I had picked No More to win And looking at my original prediction, I had no more winning the back-to-back, and I'm sticking with it because I see King Henry heading into the New York Jets, and they're going to want to run the ball a lot with the limited wide receivers they got there. Burrow Thursday night at home against Jacksonville. Burrow's going to want to put up big numbers, and I think he does. And then Winston against the Giants too. And the big disadvantage for Susie is she's got Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. So she only has really the one quarterback unless she thinks Lance is going to put up some points, getting like his 2 or 3 snaps a game, which sometimes he actually does. But that is the difference maker, I feel, is that just that edge having the 2 quarterbacks. And, you've said it a lot about how Suze maybe should potentially rebuild and sell. I honestly think she's just a quarterback away from being a great team.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, looking at her team, she does have Zach Moss. In my opinion, she does need a 3rd running back. She does have Jonathan Taylor, who might be injured. He was limited today with a knee injury. Her wide receiver room is pretty damn good. Marvin Jones, Robert Woods, who last week was his down week, and then Thielen, who somehow gets points every week. Her tight ends are Knox and Jawan Johnson, who after first week he's done crap. And then as you said, she doesn't have a second running back, and she does have Murray. She's running Tunyon and Schwartz as her flex. I think she might be a quarterback away, or she might just got lots of points for players who are overachieving. I think she needs a tight end. I think she needs another running back. She needs better flex. I just think no more's team's better. And honestly, if I were her, even going 3-0, ride the wave until the trade deadline, see where you're at, because I think it's going to even out for her. And I think I do have her going 8-5, but I still would trade some players.
Yeah, I think what's kind of cool though is we noticed the 2 games that were nominated for game of the week were the back-to-back games. And when I look at the back-to-back games, I'm kind of like, well, the 2 teams really want to play each other back-to-back weeks, but we're seeing it's actually kind of cool. These were really the games of the week this week. So
yeah, for sure. I had the same thought when I first saw the schedule, when I first doing it. I was like, oh yeah, no more is playing back to back. I don't want to play the same person back to back. But if you lost last week, you want that quick turnaround revenge game, in my opinion, versus Zebras, who's like, I don't want to play him again. I just beat him last week. Let me play somebody else. It's great for the person who lost. I'm not sure how well it is for the person that won. It's great for everybody else, in my opinion, because it's exciting to say, oh, will they come back and win? But for the person, I'm not sure how well they like it.
Yeah, it's a good point. And it's divisional games, right? So that's the one thing I like about Dynasty. The divisions always seem to be, we're starting to see the separation now, right? It's the good teams, maybe 2-horse race, but the Pandian division, that division has been electric as far as ownership goes. And, they're basically 5, 7, 9 wins, 3 losses. So Pandian division, look out. Yeah,
that division is great. Our division, we do have a losing record there. But we do have people who are putting up points. I can't say anything about myself, but you were 8th, Bolt Up, I believe, is 9th or 10th. So we do have people putting up points. But then you're kind of looking at the other divisions, like the Pandian division, you would actually fit, you actually would have the Illuminati has the least amount of points for, and you have more points than he does in that division. So it comes down to scheduling for certain people like you and Bolt Up, and and even no more. He might be 3-0 if he played another team that for his 1 loss. But I do love the division games. I do love playing the division twice. I think it's going to be great for the LOC next year, and playing the same teams. And I like Dynasty in general, so nothing to complain about for me.
Right on. All right, man. Well, I gotta go because I can hear my daughter wanting some attention. So we'll see you next week.
See you next week.